Welcome to WarBios, the podcast where we delve into the lives of history's most fascinating military minds. I'm your host, General Biography, and today we're embarking on a thrilling journey through the life of one of the greatest commanders in history, Hannibal Barca. This Carthaginian general left an indelible mark on the ancient world with his daring campaigns and unyielding determination. As we explore Hannibal's remarkable story, you'll discover how his early years shaped him into a brilliant strategist and fearless leader. Born around 247 BCE in Carthage, North Africa, Hannibal was the son of Hamilcar Barca, a renowned Carthaginian general who had fought against Rome in the First Punic War. This tumultuous period would have a profound impact on young Hannibal's formative years. As the Romans and Carthaginians clashed over control of the Mediterranean, Hannibal's family was deeply embroiled in the conflict. His father, Hamilcar, was a staunch anti-Roman patriot who instilled in his son a deep-seated hatred for their enemies. Imagine the young Hannibal growing up amidst the sounds of clashing steel, the scent of smoke and sweat, and the endless strategizing of his father and his comrades. The Barca household would have been filled with the tales of Carthaginian victories and defeats, as well as the stories of great generals who had come before them. Hannibal's childhood was marked by the constant presence of war, with its attendant emotions, fear, excitement, and a sense of purpose. As a member of the Barca family, Hannibal was part of the aristocracy in Carthage, a city that prided itself on its seafaring prowess and mercantile wealth. The young Hannibal would have been surrounded by the opulence of Carthaginian trade and culture, with merchants and sailors from all corners of the Mediterranean passing through the city's bustling ports. He would have seen the grandeur of the Carthaginian fleet, with its mighty warships and sleek merchant vessels, as well as the vibrant markets filled with exotic goods from across the known world. Yet, despite this comfortable upbringing, Hannibal's life was not one of luxury and indulgence. His father's unwavering dedication to the cause of Carthage and his unrelenting hatred for Rome meant that Hannibal's childhood was marked by a sense of purpose and duty. The young Hannibal would have been taught from an early age that he was destined for greatness, that he had a crucial role to play in the struggle against Rome. One pivotal event in Hannibal's early years occurred when he was just 9 years old. According to legend, Hamilcar Barca took his son to the temple of Baal, where he made the young Hannibal swear an oath of hatred against Rome. This dramatic scene, where Hannibal vowed to never be friends with the Romans, would become a defining moment in his life, shaping his future actions and decisions as a commander. Imagine the intensity of that moment, the solemn atmosphere of the temple, the gravity of the oath, and the weight of responsibility that rested on Hannibal's young shoulders. The vow would have been made in front of the priests of Baal, with the gods themselves bearing witness to the pledge. From that moment on, Hannibal's path was set. He would dedicate his life to the pursuit of glory and the defeat of Rome. As Hannibal entered his teenage years, he began to receive formal military training, learning the skills that would serve him so well on the battlefields of Italy and Spain. Under the watchful eye of his father and other experienced Carthaginian commanders, Hannibal honed his abilities as a soldier, studying the tactics of the great generals who had come before him. This period of intense military education would lay the foundations for his future successes as he learned to combine bravery, cunning, and strategic thinking to outmaneuver his enemies. Hannibal's training would have included instruction in the use of various weapons, such as the sword, spear, and bow. He would have learned how to ride a horse, how to command a unit of soldiers, and how to read the terrain to gain a strategic advantage. The young Hannibal would have been taught by some of the most experienced military minds of the time, men who had fought against the Romans and had developed innovative tactics to counter their enemies' strengths. The historical context of Hannibal's early years was marked by turmoil and upheaval. The First Punic War had left deep scars on Carthage, and the city-state was struggling to come to terms with its reduced status in the Mediterranean. As Hannibal grew into manhood, he would have been keenly aware of the tensions simmering between Carthage and Rome, the two great powers of the ancient world. The Romans, still reeling from their own internal struggles, were beginning to assert their dominance over the Italian peninsula. The Carthaginians, meanwhile, were seeking to rebuild their power and influence in the wake of their defeat. The oath he swore as a child would continue to drive him, fueling his determination to succeed where others had failed. The lessons he learned from his father and other Carthaginian commanders would serve him well in the battles to come, but they would also be tested by the harsh realities of war. As Hannibal entered his early 20s, the rugged landscape of Spain became his crucible, testing his mettle as a young officer under the watchful eye of his father, Hamilcar Barca. The scent of sweat and leather filled the air as Hannibal rode alongside his father, learning the intricacies of commanding large armies and navigating the complex web of alliances and rivalries between the various Spanish tribes. It was an apprenticeship that would serve him well in the years to come. In 221 BC, Hamilcar Barca's mysterious death marked a turning point for Hannibal. His son-in-law, Hasdrubal the Fair, succeeded him as commander of the Carthaginian forces in Spain, and Hannibal continued his military education under the new leader. The sound of clashing steel echoed through the valleys as Hannibal honed his skills in battle, quickly demonstrating a natural aptitude for tactics and leadership. One of Hannibal's earliest notable successes came during the siege of Hellas, where he distinguished himself by leading a daring night raid against the enemy's defenses. The thrill of victory coursed through his veins as he watched the enemy's strongholds crumble beneath his feet. This early triumph caught the attention of Hasdrubal, who began to groom Hannibal for greater responsibilities. As Hannibal's star rose, he became increasingly aware of the delicate balance of power in Spain. He spent countless hours studying the terrain, learning the strengths and weaknesses of each tribe, and forging alliances that would serve him well in the years to come. The rugged landscape of Spain was etched into his mind like a map, with every valley, mountain, and river holding a secret or a story. The decision to invade Italy was not taken lightly. Hannibal spent months gathering intelligence, consulting with his generals, and preparing his forces for the long and difficult march ahead. He knew that the Romans were a formidable enemy, with a powerful army and a strong network of alliances, but he was confident in his own abilities and those of his soldiers. "I will either find a way or make one," Hannibal famously declared, a phrase that would become a hallmark of his unyielding determination and creative genius. These words echoed through the ranks of his army, inspiring his men to push beyond the boundaries of what was thought possible. In the spring of 218 BC, Hannibal set out from New Carthage, in what is now Spain, with an army of approximately 40,000 infantry, 12,000 cavalry, and 37 war elephants. The march to Italy was a logistical nightmare, taking several months to complete. But Hannibal's careful planning ensured that his army arrived at the foot of the Alps in good condition. The crossing of the Alps, which took place in the late summer of 218 BC, remains one of the most famous episodes in military history. The treacherous terrain and harsh weather conditions tested the endurance of Hannibal's army to the limit, but he led by example, sharing the hardships and dangers with his men. As they descended into the Po Valley, Hannibal's army was met with a mixture of curiosity and hostility by the local inhabitants. The Romans, who had been expecting an attack, were caught off guard by the sudden appearance of a large Carthaginian army in northern Italy. Hannibal, meanwhile, was eager to engage the Romans in battle, seeking out their army and preparing for the first major confrontation of the war. The Battle of the Trebia, fought in December 218 BC, was a decisive victory for Hannibal. The speed and ferocity of his attack caught the Romans off guard, and they suffered heavy casualties as a result. Hannibal's tactical genius was on full display as he exploited the weaknesses of the Roman army and secured a crushing victory. The Battle of Lake Trasimene, fought in June 217 BC, cemented Hannibal's reputation as one of the greatest generals of all time. His clever use of terrain and deception led to another stunning victory, inflicting heavy casualties on the Romans and sending shockwaves throughout Italy. Despite these triumphs, Hannibal faced numerous challenges as he pushed deeper into Italian territory. The Romans adapted their tactics, employing more Fabian strategies to wear him down through a series of small skirmishes and raids. Hannibal's army, depleted by years of fighting, began to lose its cohesion and discipline. The Battle of Cannae, fought in August 216 BC, was Hannibal's masterpiece. His clever deployment of troops, combined with his use of terrain and deception, led to one of the most devastating defeats in Roman history. The echoes of Cannae would be felt for centuries to come, as military strategists studied and emulated Hannibal's tactics. Yet, despite this great victory, Hannibal's fortunes began to decline. The Romans, unable to defeat him in battle, resorted to more desperate measures, including the use of scorched earth tactics and the recruitment of mercenary troops. Hannibal's army, once a finely tuned machine, began to show signs of wear and tear. As the years passed, Hannibal was eventually forced to withdraw from Italy and return to Carthage. Though his ultimate defeat marked the end of his Italian campaign, his legacy as one of history's greatest generals remained unscathed. The campaigns in Italy, which lasted for over a decade, left an indelible mark on Western civilization. As Hannibal's Italian campaign drew to a close, the once unstoppable Carthaginian general found himself recalled to his homeland in 203 BC, summoned to defend against the relentless Roman invasion led by the rising star of Scipio Africanus. The war-weary landscape of Italy, where Hannibal had once wrought havoc with his tactical brilliance and unorthodox strategies, now seemed a distant memory as he turned his attention to the impending showdown with Rome's most capable commander. As Hannibal faced off against Scipio, he was keenly aware that this battle would be his most challenging test yet, a trial by fire that would push his strategic genius to its limits. Despite his valiant efforts, Hannibal suffered a crushing defeat at Zama, a loss that marked the end of the Second Punic War and ushered in an era of Roman dominance over the Mediterranean. As the dust settled on the battlefield, Hannibal's thoughts turned to the future of Carthage, his beloved city-state. He realized that the key to preventing future conflicts lay not in conquest or military might, but in reforming the very fabric of Carthaginian society. With a newfound sense of purpose, Hannibal dedicated himself to overhauling Carthage's government and economy, seeking to eradicate corruption and promote transparency in the hopes of creating a more just and resilient society. Hannibal's vision for a reformed Carthage was nothing short of revolutionary. As he navigated the treacherous waters of Carthaginian politics, he found himself at odds with the traditional aristocracy, who viewed his efforts as a threat to their power and privilege. Undeterred by the resistance he faced, Hannibal pressed on, leveraging his immense popularity among the common people to push through a series of groundbreaking reforms. One of the most significant challenges Hannibal faced during this period was the task of rebuilding Carthage's economy, which had been ravaged by years of war and mismanagement. He implemented a range of innovative policies, including trade agreements with neighboring states and investments in infrastructure, aimed at stimulating growth and reducing dependence on foreign powers. Although his efforts were met with resistance from some quarters, Hannibal remained committed to his vision, driven by a deep sense of responsibility to the people of Carthage. Despite his best efforts, however, Hannibal's reforms ultimately proved unsustainable in the face of opposition from the entrenched elite. Forced into exile in 195 BC, he embarked on a peripatetic journey across Asia Minor, offering his military expertise to any ruler willing to hire him. This period of wandering, marked by both hardship and adventure, afforded Hannibal the opportunity to reflect on his past campaigns and distill the essence of his strategic genius. Though the exact circumstances surrounding this phase are unclear, it is evident that Hannibal remained committed to his craft, continuing to study and adapt the art of war until the end of his days. As he traveled from kingdom to kingdom, Hannibal encountered a diverse array of rulers and military leaders, each with their own unique strengths and weaknesses. He found refuge with King Antiochus III of Syria, who employed him as an advisor and general, and it was during this period that Hannibal had the opportunity to apply his strategic insights in new and innovative ways. Hannibal's later years were marked by a deepening sense of introspection, as he grappled with the consequences of his actions and the legacy he would leave behind. His death in 183 BC, pursued relentlessly by his Roman enemies, marked the end of an era as the greatest general of the ancient world passed into legend. Today, Hannibal is remembered as one of history's most brilliant and innovative military minds, a commander whose campaigns continue to inspire and instruct strategists around the world. His legacy extends far beyond the battlefield, however, serving as a powerful reminder that true greatness is often achieved through a combination of cunning, adaptability, and determination. His unwavering commitment to his goals, even in the face of overwhelming odds, serves as a powerful reminder that victory often lies just beyond the boundaries of what we think is possible. In conclusion, Hannibal's story offers a rich tapestry of insights into the human experience, reminding us that even in the darkest moments, there is always hope for redemption and renewal. That's all for today's War Bios. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and until next time, I'm General Biography reminding you to keep marching toward victory.